Have we got connection? We're building an audience for you. Thank you, Facebook. So, what's up, guys? I just wanted to have a bit of a chat today about lowering and what's your options. Seems to be getting a lot of messages to the page right now, or people hitting me up on my personal page, or people just asking lots and lots of questions about, you know, lowering and what can we do. So, just thought it would take the time to have a talk to you about suspension, coilovers, springs, and etc., and just give you a bit more of an insight into what's available and what options you've got. So I get hit up with this probably at least once every couple of weeks. Someone's like, "Oh, can you just cut the springs?" And like it's illegal, it's dangerous, and really it's just freaking stupid. So you can't cut your springs because they're not designed like that. They're designed to take the weight of the vehicle. When you do that, you're just basically going to make the thing handle like it handles shit. So probably your easiest, cheapest kind of entry level for lowering options is a set of lowering springs, like your King springs, your Dobies, or H&R, B&G, Vauquelin, all of these kinds of things. So springs are good. They're going to give you, there's usually you're only going to have two options. You're going to have low or super low. A low spring will drop it down 30 millimeters, and a super low will drop it down 50. If you're wanting to go more than that, we'll talk about that in a minute. But I guess it's a good option for your standard fitment type stuff. So someone who's not necessarily trying to get the biggest amount of stance out of their car, but just wants the car to drop a little bit, look a little bit nicer, and handle a bit better. You know, the thing is, they're not really ideal for the guys that are doing really big wide wheels because of body roll, and we'll go into body roll in a little bit in a minute. The second thing with lowering springs that you need to consider is actually the condition of your shock absorbers, because like particularly if you've got an older car, like a mid-90s car or a late or early, even up to sort of mid-2000s now, 2003, 2004, those types of cars, you're going to find that the shocks are really starting to wear. So shock absorber from factory, you've sort of got like 50 to 80,000 kilometers of life before they start to get to the point where they're kind of they're not as effective as they were from new. So if you've got a worn shock and then you go and throw a lowered spring onto it, you drop the body of the car down, they're really going to struggle to work effectively because the shock's worn out and now it's got less travel. So often we've seen people where they would go ahead and lower their car but not change the factory shocks after 150,000 or 200,000 Ks, and then wonder why 2 weeks or a month or 6-8 weeks later all their shocks are blown out, and all it's done is the lowered spring has highlighted how worn those shocks were. So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of information around lowering springs. So I want to talk about body roll, because body roll is the number one enemy of handling, and it's also the number one enemy of when we try to put big wheels and get stance on our car, because if we stick a wheel out past the guards and we've got body roll, when you go in and out of a driveway or around a corner, the car's going to do this and it's going to catch, the wheel's going to catch on the guard, and you're going to rub your tyre, damage your wheel, or damage the body of the car. So it's important to consider these factors when we're selecting wheels, tyres and suspension. So just thinking about the way all that works is simply put, it's the lower the center of gravity, the lower we can get the car to the ground, the more turning you'll get when you're turning the car. So effectively it's going to handle better, it's going to grip the road better, as long as you've got the right wheel and tyre package to go with it. So it's kind of like they all handle together, they all work in together. So center of gravity, body roll, understeer. So coilovers or shocks and springs. So let's talk about pros and cons right now, because there's hey Taylor. So the coilover option, we get a lot of people go, I don't want to go coilovers because they think it's going to be too hard, or there's the challenge around low volume, or they think that the cost is so much higher. So we'll cover all of that right now for you. So the cost of a set of springs is sort of around $450, and labour you're looking at about $250 to $300 to fit it, depending on the vehicle. So you're sort of $700 to $800 is around about what you're going to do for a set of springs fitted to your factory shocks. Now that's all good, but if your shocks are worn out, and you need to go and replace your shocks, you could spend up to sort of $150, $200 a shock anyway. So now you're spending the same sort of money you would have spent to go buy a nice brand new set of coilovers like the Oz Racing or BC Golds that we can get off the shelf and throw straight in the car. So that it's cheaper, yes, in some cases, but not in all. And that's going to come down to how old your shocks are on your car and how many Ks the thing's done as it is. But for a performance perspective, your coilover is definitely going to out-handle your shock and spring setup. Even if you go to a really flash spring like a European spring and a Bilstein or a Coney, they'll feel nice on the road, but your out-and-out handling and the reduction in body roll will still be trumped by the coilover every time. Ooh, going too fast. Right, so other than that, with the coilover, obviously you get the ability to control your damper, so you can turn up or down the shocks, how hard they rebound, how they feel. You can change your ride height, which is the big one that everyone wants because they want it lower than 30 or 50 millimeters. And I mean, we've seen, you know, spring sets that go down 80 millimeters or more. So, coilover sets that go down 80 millimeters or even more. Camber plates, most models like your Subarus, your Skylines, Silvias, Evos, pretty much anything with a McPherson strut, you're going to get camber adjust at the front, so you can dial in or out the camber on the wheels, which will allow us to fit a bigger wheel under the guards. So that's a huge advantage that you cannot get with a factory spring and shock combo. You could change the hats, but then by the time you do all that, you'd be in the same realm in terms of cost anyhow. So obviously that kind of weighs it there. So the certification, because that's a question that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, but then you've got to cert it and that's a hassle. I guess the certification rules are there to protect, protect you from cowboy and rogue operators. So we use a really good quality low volume certifier. Yes, it does have a little bit of a cost, but when you get your car done right, the handling and the benefits are far outweigh a little bit of money that you've got to spend on getting that done. But yeah, again, coming back to it, like the coilovers will definitely handle a lot better. So cost-wise, like your Oz Racing 1300 including GST, and your BC Golds 1500 including, or 1600 if it's a special order from overseas. So if you're going to do 4 shocks and springs and install, you're going to spend very close to the same sort of money. So the other question I get around is people go, oh, the springs and shocks handle nicer than the coilovers do, which is, to me, is like, I don't really agree with that. My STI, version 11 STI, nice car, really good, was harder on the factory setup than it was once we put the coilovers in. I was actually able to control it by softening the damper, and I got better handling out of it than I did on the factory setup. So yeah, I guess we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of just some more education on what your options are when it comes to lowering. But if you're wanting to get those big fitments, so we're seeing a lot of the MPS guys coming through, the guys with the STIs, Evos, wanting 9.5 wide. You've got to run the right size tyre to get it legal. So really, if you are looking for that bigger fitment, you really do need to consider the coilovers as the right option, because your springs and shocks just aren't going to cut it. Other than that, I think that's probably all we wanted to cover at this point. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll share some more next week.